fuck this physics is worse than Big Blue. Okay. Oh yeah. What the fuck? Holy sh- What is that respawn? Hello? They unironically they unironically put this in the back, dude. That's a holy shit, that's fucking that's where are you even supposed to go? Is that a mushroom? Oh, thanks for the arrow. Now I can figure out where to go. What the fuck, dude? Well, today's session is going to be on CTs. Probably a pretty easy guess by now, but I'm gonna talk first about like modding in general. So like, I really like modding when a game gets to a point in its life cycle where like modding becomes worth it, I guess, is a different question. But like for MKW, that's what I'm gonna mainly focus on in this video. It's beyond the time. So I remember starting playing CTs and stuff on 1.00, like around the time MK7 came out, a little bit before, and I really enjoyed them. Like back then, like even though there were some tracks that were not really that good, it was still new. And I think as time flies and you're like used to always having CTs accessible to you, they start to lose their luster a little bit, and I guess reality on like the actual track design starts to kick in. Because by no means like 1.00 was better, I would say, but like back then, like I just had more fun with it, despite like it probably being worse than what we have today. I remember a big problem in 1.00 was some of the new tracks, I guess, that were designed were kind of poorly designed. I felt like MK64 at times, where like some tracks are just way longer than they needed to be. Many would have like straights for like 10 seconds straight, where you're just pressing the wheelie button repeatedly. I remember like one called North Pole Slide that was like that, and there were multiple offenders of that. I remember there's this track called Volcanic Skyway 3. I think some of the other versions are still in the pack, but like it was just awful with this. Like it checked off all the boxes on what I would call a poorly designed CT. Like nothing against the creator, obviously. I think that he's a creative idea and stuff, but like it was just so long that oftentimes you couldn't even finish it online. It was littered with like so many classic CT ideas. I think I'll get to that in a second, I guess, but back when I played, I guess, I always kind of preferred the retro-made custom tracks, mainly like the GCN ones, and because like they were more like directly ported from Double Dash, and I think they made the best transition. And to be honest, like they were some of the most interesting ones to begin with. So those were always my favorite personally. But as time went by, I noticed a few problems I had with many of the tracks, I guess, and it's that creators like, I guess, tried to like be like too cute, I guess, with like ideas and stuff. I feel like it's interesting to have like stuff like cannons on particular tracks, for sure, but like in CTs, like it got to the point where like every other track was having one, and some having multiple. I think Volcanic Skyway 3 had like 4 or 5, honestly, and like at that point it's just like it's kind of like overkill, I guess. Like the amount of like places you can dodge people on a track, for example, I guess. The lengths of the track were always a problem. People always kind of spam mushroom bouncers everywhere because it's like, oh, that's like a unique tool I can create. And I think a more popular one right now is making extremely long tracks and justifying it by putting either like speed modifiers or like 2 laps on them, I guess. And while like nothing about like these ideas are inherently wrong, it's just like at some point you just kind of want to play tracks that you feel like could like actually be in the game, I guess. Like I guess like some people like these kind of ideas and stuff, but like it's never really been my cup of tea. But above all of this, I think the biggest annoyance, I guess, of CTs is when tracks are just not intuitive at all. So like you're playing something new for the first time, and you're just driving, and then the second you know, you fall off because like you didn't know that you were supposed to take like a 90-degree left turn there, or like it wasn't obvious, like you couldn't really see the path. Like some tracks are like super like dimly lit, you can barely see, or like some just like have blindsided turns that like just it's just not intuitive to play. And I think that's a big problem because I think that prevents people from wanting to pick up CTs more seriously personally. I think people think they're being creative a lot, but in reality, I think that can be a trap for producing tracks that are not that great. People blatantly are more focused, I guess, on adding something they think may be cool than like actually testing it to make sure it plays well. You know, like tracks are actually supposed to be tested, I guess. Some CTs are practically impossible with carts or even lightweights. Like there's like it's like pseudo anti-gravity kind of stuff, or like lightweights just struggle to even stay on the track. To be fair, the MKW developers really didn't test every track of carts either. You can see it on stuff like the Cannon after the Cannon on DKJP. Another classic CT move, I guess, is adding like huge obscure shortcuts, many of them which are not obvious at all, and like not even not obvious, but like you'd have to like look them up to figure them out. Many of them save like a ridiculous amount of time, like seconds upon seconds. There's a reason why BC and RBC3 play how they do. It's pretty much entirely based off one SC, and I think this is another thing that's really irritating new people, is just knowing all the strats and stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, having strats is really good, I think. It's just like when it's completely game breaking and not really like something you can learn outside of like seeing other people do it, I think that it can be kind of a problem, especially when you consider the pack is so big already. There's so much to learn that like really obscure stuff is like it just doesn't make it really that fun for newcomers coming in. There's one CT creator, one or two I guess, that I kind of want to shout out. I guess Joris MKW, I think, is doing a pretty good job with their tracks. I think they're still relatively new to making tracks. They haven't made a ton, I'd say about like 8 or 9. I'm actually playing Joris's in this video. One thing I really like is that he focuses on making tracks intuitive for people. Like people who are playing it the first time like are still at a disadvantage, but not one that makes it like practically impossible. I think that's a really good concept. It feels like a lot of his tracks could fit into an actual MK game. I think they're designed pretty well. Most of them are around like 40 to 50 second laps, which I think is like pretty good for CTs. I know CTs are very commonly very long and makes it not really feel like the actual game very much. I think that it's really good when they are. Another guy I want to shout out is Chaos Shadow 23. I think that he has some pretty unique ideas, but he also makes them like feel like actually solid made tracks that were tested. And I also like that he ports a lot of the old Super Circuit tracks. I have a lot of fun playing on those. So one thing I've noticed is CTGPR is kind of like guilty to like some of the like obviously it's still a great thing. I'm glad CTGPR exists, but like I feel like the track monitoring is not really that great in it. I think it's really quick to add some tracks, I guess. I would say that the creation of Wimpy kind of makes CTGP like practically a monopoly. I mean, I feel like it probably was going to be anyway, but like before the shutdown, I feel like more packs were like given chances and stuff. It was because you weren't like missing out on anti-cheat, but I guess by not playing CTGPR, stuff like that. So I feel like to make it better, perhaps CTGP could honestly perhaps maybe raise their standards a little. I know that's hard for I understand that people will probably be mad listening to me say this because like I haven't really done much for the CT community, but as somebody on the outside looking in, this is just a personal thought. I think more people would be like more enthusiastic to play CT events if the average CT was like still like intuitive yet still like deep and like you know, like it's easy for like most tracks in the game, the regular game, to be like people can drive them on their first try, but like they're developed, they have strats and stuff, and I think that's what makes a good track, is that everybody knows like how to play it, but truly great players will still shine on them. Uh, I'd say some good examples in tracks in the pack right now, I think, would be Sky Sanctuary and Skyline Avenue. They aren't too long. I think they're kind of fun ideas. Got a few separate paths that are a little bit faster, but not like anything game breaking, and I really like the concepts behind them. I don't think they're perfect tracks. I don't think really many tracks are perfect in the pack, but like those are some of my personal favorites. So I'm going to kind of shift to CTWL right now, because I wanted to talk about that even more so than CTGP, because I think what CTGP is setting out to accomplish, I think it's doing extremely well on it personally. I would just personally be wanting to play it a little bit more if I thought the average track in it was a little bit better, because I can't really go into CT Worldwide anymore without like getting stuff that like I really don't want to play, or just feeling lost on tracks. And to be honest, as somebody who doesn't really play MKW much anymore, I don't really care about actually going to learn it. I guess some people may be different, but I think even some regular MKW players like don't really care for CTs because of this. So I want to talk about CTWL now. I want to talk about like where. So I guess a big problem is here. I'll pull it up right now. So there's this thread about splitting track picks, or like how track picks dominate the CTWL meta, as you can see right here. I think that people complain that CTWL is more dependent on track picks because it's a little inaccessible to learn like all the CTs, and the people will just find stuff that like they think that the other teams won't be able to play and just abuse it to their advantage, I guess. And like it makes it more about track picks than ever. And, you know, track picks are a little bit of RNG. You could argue that they're the only true RNG in the matches, but I know the actual hardcore CTers will complain at me, since like they'll just say, well, actually going around and like learning everything is a skill, and you know, and they're like, they'll be like, why can't I pick tracks if I'm good at it, even though like their favorite tracks may just happen to be like the most unintuitive pieces of shit ever. But like, hear me out on this one, I guess. I suggest for CTWL that crafting a new set of 32 tracks every season would be the way to go, personally. But I don't think this change will happen, but I want to discuss the possibility. Consider like having like 16 new CT, 16 retro ones. Could be like an actual MK, maybe even throw in 48 like deluxe. And this could be like the legal set of tracks for a season, and it could change every season, and eventually like touch up on everything that's in the pack. This way there's like a reasonable amount for every team to learn each season. And wars can come down to smart item play and masterful driving, like, you know, the actual game, instead of what team gets more track picks, or forcing people to know the nooks and crannies of like every frequently broken CT. Now I know there is still skill in learning every track, and that you should be rewarded for it. That's probably the most common like argument against this, but here's the thing: not only does it take an ungodly amount of time to learn all these tracks in a world where people have work and school, but if people actually learn all the tracks, then being truly elite at a track becomes that much more impressive, since other people are trying to challenge you on these tracks already, like the real game. Like, I know that it's a skill to know all the tracks and stuff, but wouldn't it be more impressive if you could still be the best on those tracks when they're actually being focused on by many? So I think CTWL will be significantly more motivating for people to play, and potentially more fun and exciting to see. Like, it would be exciting to see like what the roster is every season of tracks. And I think it'd be more motivating for people to learn like maybe 32 or 48 than 216. And I think it's like still simple enough, like if there's like some retro tracks thrown in there, because many people know those already. So people could actually spend time practicing the particular CTs that they will want to be that's like legal for the league, and people will actually learn the tracks over time instead of just feeling overwhelmed, maybe. So I know saying 216 tracks sounds impressive, and sure, CTGP should have as many as possible because it's a mod that's known for that, but the thing I suggested I won't back down about, because I think it more closely resembles an actual MK game, which I think should be a meta game over just like knowing which tracks or like knowing how to play each one and which not. And I think perhaps if we develop like people who like if we did this, perhaps more people would become good on more CTs, and I think that's just the goal at the end of the day, personally. So I haven't said everything that I could say about CTs, but the synopsis is I think that we should have a set amount to play on each season in WL. I'm pretty sure nothing will change here because most people like how it is right now. Even like I think more people would be like considered joining CTWL if we used a system, but I know it would also, on the other hand, be kind of a disappointment to those who take it seriously already, and I understand that. Um, really, another takeaway is I think that we should challenge our CT creators to make tracks that feel like they would fit in an actual game and still manage to put their great ideas into them without like just spamming like mushrooms and stuff. No, or cannons or stuff like that. And I know this is kind of difficult sounding, but I really think the average quality of the tracks would go up if this were to happen personally. So I know that it's weird coming from somebody like me who like mainly plays MK8 right now, but those are my genuine opinions, and I've always been kind of interested in modding. So perhaps someday when I actually have the time, I will try to develop a CT that I think fits the standards, the high standards, I guess, that like I'm trying to pass off right now. But really, to me, I think the optimal CT would be something around 40 seconds per lap. It has a bunch of great and unique ideas to it, a unique setting, plays well, drives well. Maybe there's some strategies that rewards like better players and stuff similar to that, but that's just my personal thoughts. So perhaps I'll try to make that one day. And that's about all I have for today. So I apologize if I've made anybody upset with this video. I know this one may be a little bit more controversial, but just keep in mind these are my genuine opinions on CTs, and obviously CTs aren't gonna like falter or like fail if like these things aren't met, because they're already so unique to begin with. But this is just what I think would be a potential thing to improve them in the future. So I hope that people can see that like it's nothing personal with like the people. Like I know people create these tracks and put some heart into them, so it's nothing personal. This is just my personal opinion. So if you're passionate about your work, you keep it up, and perhaps maybe even keep some of this stuff in mind, and maybe we'll have even better CTs in the future, because some of them, I will admit, have some really cool settings and ideas already, and I really want to see the potential that they could have in the future. So that's all I have for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.